Good morning, Elle Ingalls here at alleingalls.com, pressure-free.com. I am at Blandford. Beautiful place here. We've got some nice flowers there in the background. And today what I want to talk about are the things that help you make decisions and the things that help you solve your problems. I was just on the road here, right over here, and unfortunately the wildlife manager picked up the big turtle that was in the middle of the road here, because the turtle was a message to me, and it moves so slowly over the asphalt, crossing the road, but once it hits water, it's in its element. So can you think of a time that you've been in your element? You're just in your element. Everything is flowing. You can move, solve problems easily, like things are just happening for you. And then there's other times where we're moving slowly. We're maybe going through a transition. There are a lot of people in a transition right now. Maybe you are one of them. And so we're moving a little bit more slowly. And sometimes it's important to take time to really delve in to solve our issues and solve our problems. When you're in fight or flight, it can feel as so overwhelming. You can feel really stuck, and you can feel as though the problem just can't be solved. It feels impossible to solve. And one of the reasons is you're not accessing the very things you need to be able to solve your problems. So this all up here, your cortex, this back here, your hippocampus. These are the things that you need to be able to solve your issues. And this is why. How do we actually solve our problems? What is it that we have to access? So first of all, we have our education, our experiences. So all of the experiences that you have had are here. They're in here, or some lesson from them. If you were in fight or flight, though, when you had an experience, your memory is somewhat warped. We can't access short-term memory. We can't lodge memory when we're in fight or flight very well. So your memories from certain experiences may be a little off, which is why you may have trouble remembering some experiences. I have a missing memory from my life, a very deep missing memory. So don't beat yourself up if you feel like you have memories that are, you can't access. Don't beat yourself up. It's not your fault. Like, this apparatus and how the stress hormones work is really the cause of so much of lack of memory. So your experiences, that's what you can tap into to help you solve problems. Observations. So today when I was observing the turtle out here, it's really incredible. And I was observing that turtle, it caused me to pause and have a reflection. So your observations, the things that you've observed, so you might not have directly experienced something, but you've observed something, that's in here too. And we got some children who are about to come have experiences here out in the forest today. And the third, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Morning. The third is your education. So the things that you have formally decided to learn about. So this is all here too. One of the first things that I had an experience with was I encountered a really tough piece of music, like not the whole piece, but just one section of a piece by Mozart was really, really hard for me. And my brain immediately started talking negatively, like, oh crap, I'm gonna ruin that performance. I can't play this passage. So very negative. So in that negative moment, I smiled. I used 3 pressure-free tools. I smiled. I looked up into my head and I said, caught you. So that was a slogan. And then the third thing I asked was, how can I play this passage beautifully? So when I asked this question, how can I play this passage beautifully? I watched myself, like I stepped back from the music. I was just teaching this concept to a client the other day, and we tend to go forward when we're trying to solve, like move forward into something, but I encourage you to step back. Just step back for a moment and ask that empowering question, how can I solve this? When I asked, how can I play this passage beautifully, and stepped back away from the music and relaxed, I was able to start to tap into something here. I didn't go this way and trigger stress hormones and think very negatively. I went the opposite. And instantly I got 2 answers that helped me solve the problem a little bit. But it wasn't until I was like an hour later driving across town in Battle Creek, I'll never forget the place. It was like a lightning bolt went into my chest. And a voice, an Eastern European male voice said, "You're screwing your bow too tightly. Release your tension on your bow and you will play the passage just fine." And it said 2 revolutions. This voice said 2 revolutions. So if you know a bow for a violin, we have to screw it for tension on the hair. So this voice told me to release the tension by 2 revolutions. It was so bizarre. So by relaxing, I was able to tap into a lesson from 35 years previously with a particular professor at the University of Michigan, Jacob Krakmalnik, an amazing teacher. And I was working a lot of fast stuff with him. And so this memory came up from my education. And I instantly solved the problem. I got home, I tightened my bow, I released it 2 revolutions, and I played the passage perfectly. So let's review, your experiences, your observations, what you see out in the world, and then your education. These are the 3 things you tap into to learn and solve problems, to actually get to solution. When you can tap into those 3 things that are all in here, but the stress hormones will prevent you. So whatever problem you have, let's take the problem of anxiety, because a lot of people are experiencing great anxiety right now. Like, how can I feel less anxious? How can I feel less anxious? Simply asking that question is going to start to produce some result for you. So sometimes we're asking ourselves the wrong questions. If you start your question with a why, pause for a moment. If you ask the question like, why am I so anxious? That's probably going to send you into a more downward spiral versus how can I be less anxious? How can I be less anxious is searching your brain for answers. This thing here is so incredibly powerful. When you ask the right questions, you'll start to get the right answers. So watch for when you ask a question, watch how you start to tune into your experiences, your observations, and your education. That's what makes up this amazing brain power to start to solve and come up with solutions for yourself. So it was the turtle that gave me this, and I was listening today to it was Dr. Elmer Gates who came up with this idea of what is it that we tap into. Those are just 3 of the things we tap into. I wish you a really beautiful, pressure-free day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.